either Tennessee or Southern Cal. I am joined right now by the leading scorer for the Lady Longhorns in this performance, the freshman Clarissa Davis, 32 points. That's a season high, and if you ever have to be hot, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, I think it is, and I felt like our team really came together, and we played well as a team, and I felt like I had to go out there and play especially well for our seniors. They're really hard workers, and I really love them, and even though it's my freshman year, I feel like I've been on the team for 4 years, and I just really love them, and I love our team. And I think we came out and did a great job.
You showed a lot of confidence and a lot of composure for a freshman, and there were other members of the team who weren't quite settled into their game actually throughout the contest. What kept you so calm?
Well, it's just me being a freshman. That takes a lot of pressure off because I'm expected to make mistakes, and so I don't really have the pressure on me, and I just want to go out there and just to contribute in any way I can. And if I score 2 points, if I score 32, it doesn't matter to me as long as we win.
We did a fine job tonight. Let's take a look at some of the highlights for you, and this was a fine pass from Andy Lloyd to you.
That's a great pass. Andy's a really good passer. She can see the court, and I think a lot of the people on the teams can see the court, and we're a really unselfish team.
Clarissa Davis, not only are you a great basketball player, but you're very humble about your abilities. You give credit to your teammates when you yourself had such an outstanding performance. Good luck to you in the finals. Right now, let's move over to Mimi Griffin, who's standing by with one happy lady, Jody Conrad.
Thanks, Leandra. Jody, history was made tonight. Not only have you made it to the championship game for the first time, but for the first time in your 10-year career, you did not full court press from the beginning of the game. Give us the significance of that.
It goes back a long way, Mimi. It goes 33 games ago when we lost to Western Kentucky in Bowling Green. A disappointing loss. You always spend time analyzing what happens in those losses. I decided we needed to be a better half-court team. And as the players got better ball handling skills, that's where it was. And we've worked all year for this particular game. The chance to prove that we were a great transition team, but that we could play half-court with anybody.
Well, in a word, it worked, didn't it? Are you surprised that a freshman contributed so much in this semifinal game for you?
I'm not surprised the contribution that Clarissa Davis made. She is a great talent. I think I knew that when she signed on at Texas that she was going to have a big impact. The only thing about freshmen is that you don't know what they're going to do when, but tonight she did it all and all at the right time.
All right, Leandra, back to you.
Mimi, I have to get your final thoughts very quickly on this game. We were both surprised at Texas. Although they didn't play a very calm contest, they certainly did the job with a big victory.
They sure did, and you know what? It was a shrewd coaching move by Jody Conrad to come out. It was a risky move because she's never played the half-court defensive game before, but it worked.
It certainly did. Texas defeating Western Kentucky. Now, just ahead on ESPN, Sports Center is going to update you on all the action from the sports world. First, we have Bob Lee and Dick Vitale. They'll report on the men's Final Four from Dallas. We also have a preview of tonight's hockey championship, the semifinal game between Harvard and the University of Denver. And then Mimi and I are going to set the stage for our second semifinal game, that, of course, being between Southern Cal and Tennessee. Sharon Smith is also going to update you on the NHL, the NBA playoff places, and then, of course, we'll be back for that second game. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and the sorry face of the Western Kentucky players is almost disappointing. They should be holding their heads up high for a fine job. Hook'em horns will be flashing again here on Sunday as Texas defeats Western Kentucky 90-65. They will meet the winner of Tennessee and Southern Cal. Right now, let's go back to ESPN Sports Center in Bristol, Connecticut, where Sharon Smith is
News today on CBS Sports. This is CBS.
27 million Americans are functionally illiterate. Please volunteer your help by calling this number.
If your hand wasn't shaking so much from alcohol, you'd probably turn the TV dial. Because you're not going to like this. But it's about time somebody said, stop, do something about your problem. Call the Intercept program in the quiet solitude of the Texas cattle country. Take the first step. Call now. Just how long has it been since your last drink? Call the Intercept program at Mason Memorial Hospital before it's too late. 915-347-6345. You'll come a long way in a short time.
in the family.
Member of the Kings of Queens.
Being a private club, I ain't saying nothing about our club whatsoever.
Okay.
I'll say this. If we ain't got a black member over there, and I ain't admitting that we ain't got a black member over there, but if we ain't got a black member over there, buddy, there's only one very good and very simple reason.
What's that?
The entire membership is white.
Don't miss All in the Family, Monday at 3, only on Channel 7. Dave Cody at 5, 6, and 10, only on Channel 7 News.
A year ago, the NCAA Women's Championship game was played between Old Dominion and Georgia. It was a classic confrontation, but behind the efforts of Medina Dixon, Old DU dominated the boards and gave Coach Mary Ann Stanley a 70-65 victory over the stunned Lady Bulldogs of Georgia. In 1985, the Lady Monarchs of Old DU were the nation's top team. A year has come and gone, and in this past season has not been as kind to Old DU. Young and inexperienced, the team came up short in its bid to repeat. But if the regular season demonstrated nothing else, Texas was determined to make a run for the title. Coach Jody Conrad guided her thoroughbreds to the front of the class, and more impressively did so without suffering a single loss. A step back most of the season stood the Lady Bulldogs of Georgia. Last year's runner-up to Old DU in the Final Four, but suffered one setback and again was led by senior All-America Teresa Edwards. This past season also witnessed some personal highlights, such as the final campaign of women's basketball's #1 star, the great Cheryl Miller, and the overall excellence each week of another senior, Wanda Ford of Drake. She would lead the nation in scoring and rebounding. The dream for each team that started in November was the same, to reach Lexington, Kentucky, the site of the Final Four in March. But the road is not easy, and though 40 teams were selected to compete in this year's tournament, only 4 found their journey to the Bluegrass Country successful. In the East Regional, held at the Palestra in Philadelphia, Western Kentucky met Rutgers in the finals. Western, who had reached the finals a year ago, desperately wanted to return to their native state triumphant. Led by Lily Mason, Western dominated inside, frustrating Coach Teresa Grintz's hopes and sending All-America Sue Wicks home in frustration. The Mid-East Regional would be played on the campus of the University of Iowa and would present the tournament's most stunning upset. Tennessee met SEC rival Georgia in the semifinal and controlled the boards throughout. Georgia coach Andy Landers watched his dream of a national title go up in smoke as the Lady Vols of Tennessee beat #2 ranked Georgia and earned a trip to Lexington. The Midwest Regional was held in Austin, Texas, where the Lady Longhorns were determined to show why they were the nation's best. All-America point guard Cammie Etheridge dazzled Oklahoma in the semis. But Texas would run into an inspired Ole Miss team led by their fine center, Jennifer Gillum. But even Ole Miss would eventually succumb to the relentless pressure, and the Texas seniors finally realized a 4-year dream, their first trip to the Final Four. Out west, Long Beach would be the site, but USC was easily the team. Coach Linda Sharp's team raced through the regional finals behind guard Cynthia Cooper, sending Louisiana Tech's Leon Barmore home looking for help. 40 teams started, now they're down to 4, and the famed Rupp Arena in Lexington would court the ladies' best. Friday night, Western Kentucky met Texas in Game 1, and Texas fans had some advice that Western ignored. Lily Mason found out right away that this game would be different from last year's regional. Texas pressured her and immediately got her in foul trouble as Jody Conrad had her team primed and running. Texas would get 20 points from senior Fran Harris, but it would be freshman Clarissa Davis who would come off the bench to devastate Western. Davis would score 32 points in 27 minutes, but more importantly, dominate the board, sending Western home in tears and the Lady Longhorns on to the championship. In Game 2, the Lady Vols of Tennessee would meet the USC Women of Troy, and right from the start, Cheryl Miller showed why she's the nation's best. Besides 17 points, Miller added 5 assists, 10 rebounds, and 3 block shots as USC dominated and frustrated the young Lady Vols. 5 5 of USC's players, including freshman Karen Howell, would hit double figures as USC would easily defeat Tennessee 83-59, sending Linda Sharp to her 3rd championship game in 4 years. And so what began back in November will be decided today on this court by these starting players. The nation's #1 team, the Lady Longhorns of Texas, put their perfect 33-0 record on the line against the team that has won 2 of the last 3 NCAA titles, the USC Women of Troy. 2 teams, 10 players, 1 game, winner take all.
The 1986 Women's NCAA National Championship Game is sponsored by Today's Chevrolet, who invite you to live the style, performance, and fun of Chevrolet in '86. MasterCard International, master the possibilities. And by Hewlett-Packard, the people who turn your business computing problem into a business computing solution.
Welcome to Rupp Arena, Lexington, Kentucky, for the championship game in women's basketball. The Women of Troy, USC, going against the Lady Longhorns of Texas, and you're looking at the premier player in women's basketball, Cheryl Miller. She's carried the banner of the sport for 4 years, a 4-time All-American, today in her final appearance, seeking her 3rd NCAA title in 4 years. Her opponents, the Texas Lady Longhorns, the #1 ranked team from the beginning of the season. And Texas trying to become the first NCAA team to go undefeated. They have dreamed of a national title for 3 years. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender, and welcome on this Easter Sunday. Women's basketball has just been growing impressively. And one of the reasons, the lady that's working with me today, who's worked very closely with women's basketball, Mimi Griffin. Mimi was a fine player at the University of Pittsburgh and our expert analyst today. Mimi, I would think that this game today is a dream matchup. What a game to have for women's basketball.
Gary, this game today will showcase the #1 team, Texas, and Cheryl Miller of USC, the #1 player in the nation. Both Texas and USC have similar styles of play. They run a transition offense and a full court pressure defense. We're going to have an exciting game.
Mimi, we hear so much about Cheryl Miller, her offensive ability, but today she has a very difficult defensive assignment.
Coach Linda Sharp of USC told us that Cheryl will be guarding Beverly Williams. This Texas team is so balanced, it's hard to key on one player, but Linda Sharp feels that Beverly is their offensive spark and wants to take her out of the game early.
You know, Texas has had so many good things this year, but they're an inside and outside team. Fran Harris, her outside shooter, and this freshman sensation, Clarissa Davis, inside.
Fran Harris is so good in her perimeter shooting that she has the green light to shoot the ball anywhere on the court. Clarissa Davis is only a freshman, doesn't even start for this team, and yet is their 2nd leading scorer.
I'm looking forward to it. Texas, USC. We'll be back with the introduction of the starting lineups from here in Rupp Arena in just a moment.
Can happen anytime. When you work for Hewlett-Packard, you don't just sell business computing systems, you solve problems. So when you have an idea, you do something about it. You never stop asking, what if?
You know that electronic mail project for the bank? What if we used HP Message?
You know, I love everything about this car.
New Chevy Nova. It's a lot more than you'd expect for the price.
It's a darn good car for the money.
Well, you sold me.
And I really like the way it's built.
Oh, it really moves.
95% of Chevy Nova owners would recommend their new Nova to a friend.
There's so much room.
I thought you'd like it.
And it doesn't cost much to keep it filled either.
New Nova.
It's a lot more than you'd expect for the price.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy.
Nova.
Working hands, helping hands. Hands that got to boogie along. At McDonald's, our hands are busy too. Busy bacon, the biscuits for you.
McDonald's buttermilk biscuit sandwiches, sizzling sausage or bacon, a fresh egg, and melted cheese.
They're taking breakfast by the hand all over the land.